First, I think I would sort of push back a little bit against the idea of work being a benefit. I love what I do. And I think we all are seeking to do meaningful tasks in our lives, but we're seeking to do them as efficiently as possible often, right? We care more about the outcomes than we do often the process in when we're trying to achieve goals. So, if our goal was just to maximize work, I think there's a famous statement, if you want to maximize workers, don't use shovels, give everybody spoons to dig ditches, right? Like that doesn't achieve the goals that we're trying to do. And in fact, in those cases, you would see a direct trade-off between benefiting workers and imposing high costs on consumers. And so when we think about benefits, often that bringing in worker considerations would be in direct contrast often to the interests of consumers. And we would be back in that stage where judges would have to sort of pick what dimension they're measuring on. I will say, however, there are cases involving workers where the interests of workers and consumers are aligned. And I think, I think there's a mention of monopsony issues. Those can be real problems. If you have employers who are colluding to hire people at lower prices, that is not to the benefit of consumers ultimately, because we're basically stepping outside of the market and using force or fraud on workers, and that is problematic. It means that we will undermine the supply for work in that space, and I think that's bad for consumers. It is bad for workers as well. And so I do think that there are competition issues that involve the supply of work to employers where there can be collusion that should be addressed by the antitrust law.
The flexibility and resiliency of the consumer welfare standard, it's often pilloried as price effects only, but that's just, I think a mischaracterization of what the law is and how it's evolved over time. So obviously includes prices, but it includes quality, innovation, choice. It's a really expansive term that can fit a lot of different things. I think there's been a recent trend towards looking at the importance of monopsony power. So a single purchaser of things, often in labor markets. And that kind of thinking can fit under consumer welfare standard. You don't need to throw out the baby with the bathwater to fit something like that under a regime. And obviously, the government's prosecuted cases involving labor markets before. In the tech industry, even as one example, a little more than a decade ago, executives were accused of colluding to not push each other's employees, and they had to reach an agreement to commit to not do that in the future and pay a fine. And so under the current standard, you can bring cases involving all sorts of things that aren't just about price effects.